exciting and new. Come aboard, we're expecting you. And love, life's sweetest reward. Let it flow, it floats back to you. Soon we'll be making another run. The love boat promises something for everyone. Set a course for adventure, your mind on a new romance. And love won't hurt anymore. It's an open smile on a friendly shore. It's love, exciting and new.
Nuala. Hello, Seamus.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Very well. Good to see you. And
And all the
Gizzy.
other guys?
Evening, all.
There you
Evening,
are.
all.
Evening, James.
How are you, David?
All good. Good.
Steve, Colonel, Seamus?
You?
Yeah.
Am I on? Yes, I'm on.
Yeah.
You all right, boys?
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, not so bad, mate.
Mhm.
Fishing it down here.
6:57. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Dave. All right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Are you going to come and join us on the well, it's the crew bar. I know it's not meant to be mentioned, but the Zoom one.
And I sent him the link to his email.
You on your email, there'll be a link for it, Phil.
Okay.
Just click on that thing and it should come through. You've done well before.
Okay, Pete Stevens.
Just-
I'm on Messenger video at the moment, I think.
You are, but we'll close off from that and we will allow you to look on your email to click on the link.
Okay.
All right, Phil. All right. See you very shortly.
Evening, Brendan. Evening.
Take care. Bye.
Hey,
Bye.
Hey, Brendan?
Mr.
Peter?
Stevens.
Gizzy.
Hello,
Hey, Seamus.
Peter.
Hi. I love your backdrop, Dave.
Yes. Another.
Where are we this week, Pete?
Pete, where are you? What bar are you in? In the Red Dog or the Peter?
Come on, he's Mr. Zoom. You can unmute yourself, Pete.
He's not muted.
No, he's not. He hasn't connected his audio.
Is
That's
it
what- yeah.
audio. All right.
He knows.
He knows. Hello, Brendan.
Hi, Dave.
There we are.
How's your week been?
It's been good. It's been busy.
Been bloody busy because he's been ignoring the Colonel.
I've been busy. Seriously, we've done well. Been in the kitchen, decorating the garden. Yeah, it's all good. All good.
I was with Oscar yesterday.
And an Oscar. I've done another
Brendan.
recording for Oscar.
Oh yeah, and he was telling us about how he's had to edit down his stories.
Yeah, timing. It's all down to timing.
Yeah.
Pete Stevens, can you hear us?
He's connecting now. Yeah, he's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, Pete Stevens is connecting.
Probably
Does
got,
my photograph appear narrow on your screen or
Yes.
yeah, because
Seamus.
it's because
what's
you're on your
the
phone.
there?
Yeah,
No,
you're on the phone. Yeah.
it's not as wide as narrow. It's less than narrow.
Yeah, it's less than narrow.
Yeah.
Are you on your phone?
Have you been on a diet?
Are you on your phone or on, are you on your phone?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He,
on your
he,
phone.
he, he is muted. He is muted. Pete Stevens.
Pete, you're muted.
Yeah.
Actually, but Pete can hear us.
Yeah, Pete,
He's like
that'll make a change.
he's like the pinball wizard. He was deaf, dumb, but he can see us.
Hey,
Ed
Fruity.
Trainer in the house.
Good evening, all. Evening,
Evening,
all.
David.
Hi, Peter.
Dave Trainer's in
Who's
town.
Gillespie
Marvellous.
coming into the
I'm
house.
here, dear. I'm here.
You are. And now Brendan's gone jogging.
His mother trying to join on Messenger.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I know. I know.
There's Lynn.
Yeah.
Lynn.
Mr. Hogan carrying a handbag. Look, I always knew he was a little bit
Yeah, helpful.
Iffy.
Yeah,
carrying a handbag. Look. Can you
He's got the handbag there.
yeah. And Pete Stevens, we're trying to read your lips. Yeah, can't hear you. No, can't hear you at the moment.
No, Peter.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Yeah.
That's okay.
We thought you were the expert on this.
And there's,
So did it. Yes, we read that.
there's Mandy. There's Mandy.
Mandy's coming in. Oh, that's good.
Oh, not Mandy.
Mandy.
It's Lynn.
Didn't get
Not,
that one. Lynn
Where's,
Gillespie.
where's Mandy, Colonel?
Yeah, where is Mandy?
she
Oh,
said
yeah.
that she sent me a photograph that she might come in. So we'll see.
Okay. Okay. Right.
I've just gone off screen somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Pete can hear us, but we can't hear him.
Right. Okay.
All right.
But,
Hello?
Pete, if you can hear us, just saying, is that the Red Dog Saloon behind you? Thumbs up for a yes, thumbs down for a no. No,
No,
oh, no, it's not.
it's somewhere else.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, is it Gizzy's bar?
Yes. Okay.
It is. Well done.
I wish.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No, it's all quite. Oh, hang on, Seamus,
Yeah,
Look,
you're still on a diet. Is that?
yeah, I know. I'm trying to mess with it, but
Are you on the phone, Seamus, or are you on?
I'm on a laptop.
On a laptop.
Well, it shouldn't be like
Sorry,
that.
I'm on an iPad.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You're not switching iPad around, John.
Here we go.
Hey.
Hey.
Heck, man, good on you.
Yeah.
turn it around.
And Seamus, are you on gallery so you can see quite a few faces?
I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's good.
House is blown away.
Evening, Super
We-
Top.
we-
Evening all.
Lovely.
Elbow
Oh, the
chair.
boss. Carter.
Yeah. Contact audio.
Here we go.
Well done, Phil. Brilliant.
Well done, Phil. Yeah.
Phil's here.
Evening, boss.
Hello,
And where's
dear.
the boss? Someone else has just come in. No, Colonel's there.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm
Still
still-
got the Christmas tree up.
Hey?
Have you still got the Christmas tree up in the hotel?
Yeah.
Have
you got a fairy on the my hotel?
Save you a job next year.
Thank you. Good thinking. Steve, Colonel, Gizzy. Where's the boss? Oh, there's the boss. Yeah.
Pete's,
I'm
Pete's,
here.
oh, Pete's down. Got the loo.
Oh,
what
that's
you
good.
pretty things been up to this week?
Well,
Never you mind.
Now, can anybody recognise the bar that Pete's in?
Excuse me a second. I have to let the dog out.
Seamus' dog.
I've never heard it. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
I think you need, Peter, I think it's a case of maybe connecting to audio.
Pete, where is that bar?
Right. Is Pete still not on audio? No.
He needs to call the BBC.
Cheers, Malcolm.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Malcolm
Oh,
Campbell.
Malcolm's in. Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Malcolm's not on audio yet. Right.
Who's this? Oh, it's Malcolm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Told you,
can we hear us,
Malcolm.
Malcolm? Can we hear you?
Boss Pete. See. Right. Colonel. No, nothing. Hey, it's all gone quiet.
Yeah, someone needs to turn the telly down.
Angelo's here.
Angelo, let him in. Yeah.
Stop.
Where's Angelo?
Coming
On his
in.
way.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well done. All right. Yeah, I missed that one.
There he is.
Locatelli.
He had something in his mouth again then.
Where is he? Oh, well, there he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hello.
I started with my laptop today, so I see how it goes.
I know. Don't worry. You're not the only one. We've got.
Oh, Pete's got the BBC technician working
He's
on
got,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. It is.
And it's still not happening. Seamus, you've got a lot wider. It looks marvellous.
Thanks very much, Dave. Appreciate that.
Anytime. There we go. Hey, well, look, we
How
can
does this work? I see you guys big. I mean, like you. I see you're big, but everybody else is small.
Oh, you make you seen him big before.
Everybody is small.
Trembles.
You should turn the
Yeah.
laptop like
Yeah.
me. Turn the laptop like I
Yeah.
did.
Trembles.
Trembles is coming in. There he is.
Yeah.
I might turn the lap. No.
Marvellous.
Angelo's fine. We see you
Oh,
big, Angelo.
Malcolm cameraman. Why have I got Malcolm cameraman?
I would say I can see.
Oh, yeah, he's
you
not
guys are all
Malcolm
on
the
the top.
cameraman. It's that Skagway
Oh
Malcolm.
my goodness me. Whoa.
Caveman's just coming in.
Good.
Well done, Malcolm.
I apologize, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Close the door now.
Hang on, Seamus he's taking the dog for a walk. Now he's going to the door.
Getting careful.
Seamus' dog. Look.
There we go.
Man.
I got
Size
it.
of it.
I got everybody.
Yeah.
Have we got audio on you, Kevin?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, we
John?
do.
John, yeah. John?
Trembles. We can't hear you.
John Tremble. Where is John?
Where is he? Where's Trembles? Oh, yeah.
Bottom left on
Oh,
there.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Malcolm
Brendan.
cameraman.
It's all in there.
Yes.
I've lost video, I think.
At the moment.
Hi, Dave.
There's a good man, Malcolm.
Nice.
got me labelled the wrong person. Got what?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry.
I think John's changing it, Malcolm.
Can you hear me, Dave?
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Yes,
it's what you know, Pete. Oh,
Well done, Pete.
No, well done to the BBC engineer.
Yeah.
It's lucky you've got one in-house.
I'll never go out without one.
well worth the license fee.
Exactly. Right. What the guess is?
Yeah.
Let me give you a clue. It's the east side of the Panama Canal.
East side of Panama. Oh, Cristobal.
Yeah, but it's not in the Cristobal. You gotta go that side of the Panama Canal and south.
We're in St. Thomas.
Where?
Is it in St. Thomas?
Before you get to that group of islands, there's a couple of places we all used to stop at.
Aruba.
Yeah.
Is it Aruba?
Charlie's Bar in Aruba.
Flipping heck.
Aruba.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put another one up in a minute that you'll all get.
Oh, good.
I think we only called it Aruba when we did the transit, didn't we?
Most of us couldn't even get the word Aruba out by the time we sailed.
Why is Malcolm not showing? We've lost
He
Malcolm.
must have gone somewhere.
Well, it's okay.
No, he's okay.
Hello, Lynn.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah, more morning.
Oh, yeah, good morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice, bright, sunny one.
I thought we had Malcolm cameraman as well, didn't we?
No.
Yeah,
but
but
it was
no video.
Malcolm Skagway.
Malcolm, if you can hear us, Malcolm from Newton Willows,
Oh,
go out, come back in again.
he has gone out, yeah.
What are you going on?
Where did Angelo go?
Angelo,
I'm here.
He's
Yeah.
He's here somewhere.
Oh, okay, no. So
You
Angelo,
cannot miss me.
I must tell you that Mrs. Kling, she just got a
Yeah.
free cruise with Richard Branson's Virgin Cruises in the Caribbean.
Oh my,
Yeah.
when do they start? When are they starting?
Well, basically, they're starting, and all the agents have been given invitations, and she got hers, and so she jumped on it. So it's
Yes.
5 days out of Miami going to Costa Rica, and we've got a balcony for free. So can't beat that.
Oh, very nice. But
Not at all.
there is no cruises going now. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm talking about next year.
2022.
Yeah.
Angelo, Colonel's referring to a virtual cruise that Mrs. Kling's won.
Oh, it's a third.
Oh, let's all get on it then.
He's talking about Virgin Cruises. Seems to be a great cruise line.
Yes,
Virgin Cruises.
it is because there's no kids allowed. It's purely
That's
adult.
correct.
How come you're going?
Am I? Let's see.
Hey,
Where
I
are
got
we?
a clue
Oh,
what
you're the
pub
red
that
dog.
is.
Oh, you're outside the Red Dog.
So Pete's gone. Is that the inside of the Red Dog or the
No,
outside?
The outside.
That's all.
Oh yeah, Red Dog Saloon. Yeah.
That's the original, is it, Pete, or the old or the one?
you
I think
got
that's
me,
the new.
John.
Hang
That's the new-
about.
I think that's a much later one than we all
Yeah.
probably remember.
Yeah.
That's the new Red Dog Saloon. Yeah,
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah. I was there 2 years ago. Yeah.
I remember the old one going in there,
Yeah.
ringing the bell, having to pay for
Yeah.
bevies, but no.
Yeah.
An
Really.
image.
Malcolm never came back in.
No, he didn't.
Excuse me, I've got to answer the phone.
The bars in
Yeah,
Gas-
yeah.
I don't remember any of the names.
Here we go. That's another
Right.
one. back.
Go on, Dave. Might as well kick it off, mate. It's 7:10.
All right. Okay. Right. Well, we're in the old
Oh.
crew bar on the Sun Princess now.
He lost.
I've got
Malcolm Williams.
Zachari's
He's
helping
back.
me in the
Seems
back
to
at
have
the
lost.
moment. But
Oh, that's definitely the old crew bar.
that is the old.
Yeah.
Not as old as the Red Dog, Pete. But anyway, look, well, we have got a few of us in now anyway. But I want to just introduce and offer Dave Trainer to give us a little bit of an insight to his going to sea and why he did go to sea and what ships and for how long, because we missed out the opportunity the other week, and it'd be great to hear from you, Dave. Is that all right to do that now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, why not?
How long? We'd be here for 2 days.
Just get another drink. Well, as you know, my occupation at sea was a very strange one, not the run of the mill. And it all started prior to joining P&O. I worked for a company that supplied amusement machines and gaming machines to pubs and clubs and things like that. And in 1973, a friend of mine had gone to London on business, and he bought an evening paper, and there was an advert in there that said fruit machine mechanics or something like that wanted for cruise ships. And a tiny little advert. Anyhow, he cut it out and gave it to me. And I can't remember if I phoned them up or I wrote to them or whatever. And I got a letter back saying, unfortunately, the position had been taken. It was for the Himalaya. So that was late on in 73. And then towards the end of January, I can remember I got a phone call from my mum. I was at work saying, there's a telegram here for you. It says, from Peninsula Southampton, can you join Oriana in Sydney on the 8th or 9th of February? And I thought, shit, what? So I phoned up P&O, and yeah, sure enough, it was a whistle-stop tour of going to Southampton, getting a discharge book, going to London for a medical. And I flew out to Sydney on an Aronze repat flight. Had 10 days in Sydney waiting for the Oriana to come back. and that was it. I was on Oriana for 15 months. Then I went to Canberra for about 3 years, and then Sea Princess.
What year did you go to sea, Dave? Sorry, I missed that.
74, February 74.
Right.
Could you call him Footy, Dave, please, so we know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Singe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after I'd been on all 3 ships, I then went relief. So I was going backwards and forwards a month, 6 weeks here, there and everywhere. Then I went back on Oriana when it went down to Aussie. And I stayed there until 85, and they decided we all had to move around. And I went back to Sea Princess and finished up there in Malta in November. I think you were there, Gizzy, weren't you?
Yes, November the 5th we flew home.
Well, you did. I stayed. I was on. I had to work by for 10 days.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you're on? Oh, right.
Yeah.
I got a question for Foodie. So in Malta, is that where your offshore bank is, Foodie?
I just looked at the window to make sure no one had dug up that last biscuit tin.
Floating every year.
If I remember through to the hotel we stayed in, I think, was it called the German Palace, and it was owned by Gaddafi.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
You went in each night, and in the case there was Gaddafi's green book, and each day there was a page turn of the bit like Thoughts of Chairman Mao, but it was Gaddafi.
Yeah.
And also Fruity, another interesting thing I remember, that you were in the same village as where Phil lived in Overton.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Was that just sheer coincidence?
Well, I didn't know Phil before I went to sea.
No.
I never come across him.
Lovely
He
Overton.
never come across me.
You've never got across me, dear.
When I joined
You never
Oriana,
told us that, boss.
Charming, isn't
when
it?
I joined Oriana in Sydney, Stuart Bennett was senior AP.
Yeah.
And when I signed on, he said, "Oh, Overton." He said, "You must know Phil Butcher."
Yeah, unbelievable that.
Who was
Yeah.
Phil Butcher?
Hey, Brandon.
But we did meet in the end.
Yeah. Well, I remember we came up to Phil's when it was the Mickey Mouse appeal, wasn't it, Phil?
Yeah.
On one
Yeah.
occasion, and we had
Nice
a
one,
gathering.
Mr. Daly.
Yeah, up at Phil's. That was good. That was really good. So,
Couple of good days that was.
yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very good. So,
Malcolm's orchard. I think we've got the Malcolm back.
so Dave, I missed out. Where were you when you first started on the fruit machines? Was that based in Overton or
Down at Andover. Down at Andover.
Okay.
Only, 11 miles away.
There you're back, Malcolm. Okay.
11 miles away.
Yeah.
It was
You used
quite
to look
a,
after all the fruit machines in the area.
yeah, we covered virtually the south of England. You know, we went from Andover all the way down the West Country, probably up as far as Oxford, east, Camberley, just beyond Purbright, Surrey. So it was quite a big company.
Yeah, it's a big patch.
Yeah. Big area.
Oh, sorry.
No, we didn't get that far.
And then you got as far as Sydney.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Actually, David, I can remember the first time I met you was on Sea Princess in Singapore.
Yes. Yeah. When we met up with you, you come off the Arcadia.
Actually, I've got a photograph. I won't be able to get it up, so I've got to find it.
Yeah.
Of a pour out in my cabin not long after we got there. And there's you, there's Rex, there's Rob Morley, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. All on the piss in my cabin.
Flipping heck. Yeah.
That's
No,
a regular occurrence, Fruity.
Yeah.
Well,
Situation normal.
had been known,
Yeah, that's
had been
right.
known.
yeah.
Um,
Nice to see you, Mandy. Welcome
Hi,
back.
Dave.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I
Hey,
stayed
Mandy.
awake tonight. Yeah.
Good.
The gardening didn't totally finish me off today. Oh,
Well
God.
done. Well done. Yeah.
It rained here all day.
Did it?
Yeah, but next week is
Yeah,
next
bloody
week is
windy.
good. Next week is good.
Can I just tell you, Joe Lawrence tried
Oh,
to get
David,
Wi-Fi.
are you leaving that announcement for later?
Do you know?
Say it again, Lynn?
Do you
Are
know
you
Joe
leaving that
Lawrence?
announcement for later?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, she says to say hi. She tried to get into the meeting, but she's got terrible Wi-Fi. But she's going to try again next week.
Who was that? Joe Lawrence.
Joe Lawrence. You remember?
Yeah.
Joe Lawrence, yeah.
I'm seeing her next Saturday. We're going up to Avila. We're going wine tasting for the afternoon.
Oh, silly nonsense.
Exactly.
Fabulous. Yeah.
Also, Dave and Leslie, they're not going to come in for another couple of weeks. But they will be happy to say hi to everyone.
right. And did anyone have any luck with Pud and Angie?
No.
No.
I never
No.
replied. I sent him a message. He never replied.
Trembles, did you contact Pud?
Have you tried to contact
I haven't
Pud?
tried Pud, no.
I sent him a message a couple of weeks ago and I got nothing back. You might
I'll
think
do
of
it. I'll do it this week.
yeah.
I would, Lynn, I was thinking of contacting Lynn Whelan because
Oh, yeah.
most of us know her.
Auntie
Yeah.
And she'd like to do that, I think.
Mm.
What do you reckon, Mandy?
Queen again.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. I don't
It's like-
know
it's like-
Lynn
it's like
that
we've
well,
said.
Lynn Whelan,
It's
but
like
I
we've
see his
said,
name all the time.
it's like we've said, anyone who was with P&O or Princess Cruises up to 86
Yeah,
is
but-
welcome.
Yeah.
to
Oh,
the
wow.
band.
Yeah.
Anyone, if we know them or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Alan Bacon's trying to get his computer sorted out.
Forget
Once
that.
he's done that, he said
Don't,
he'll
don't work on Steve.
Brendan, have a look.
Oh, hang on. The pour out at Seamus's.
He's on the Vera.
Yeah.
Cheese sarnies.
Yeah.
Welsh rarebits.
Go on, David. Are you listening, Dave?
I am now.
Go on, you might as well make the announcement now while there's plenty of people in.
About Easter
All right.
Sunday, Dave.
Okay. Reference to next weekend is Easter Sunday. And,
Yeah.
and this will be the first time ever
It's closed.
that the bar will be closed on Zoom, on the Zoom thing. It won't mean that you can't get together on Messenger if you so wish, but there'll be obviously a lot of things going on for a lot of folks next Sunday. So next Sunday, all it means, and it's good news, we might get a double whammy of Oscar the week after.
Hey!
Yeah.
Or we might not get any.
week.
Yeah, but so next Sunday we won't be on next Sunday on Zoom, but you can still go on via with Phil on
like Phil.
Messenger.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. Phil's
Phil's always on Messenger.
always
I know.
there.
Phil's
Really?
always there. Yeah.
Every
He doesn't
day.
know how to get out of it.
I know.
Oscar today.
Oh,
Once I'm in, I'm in.
Parallel universe, aren't you, Phil?
Yeah.
Messenger universe. And
right.
Phil's going to be 80 this year, I found out.
wait, what day?
Big
Quiet.
Oh, sit on the naughty step now.
Is Oscar he still goes up the park?
Dear, oh dear.
Is Oscar going forward?
You're a bad man, Trembles.
Oh, blimey. No, Pete, where are you now?
Doyle's in Sydney.
Oh,
Doyle's
My
on the
life.
beach.
Yay.
Get about you do, Pete, don't you?
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Peter
Let's have a
Stevens.
look. Let's see if we can
Oh,
get it.
by the way, have you seen the sign behind David? It's the end of the month and you need to pay your bar bills.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They'll be
Number
coming
credit.
round for the handbag.
Dave,
It's stock take tonight.
Join
Yes,
us.
it's good. We've got to close next week because we're doing stock take.
I don't know how you paid him without people paying their bills.
And I've got a request for Footy. I didn't mention this before, Footy, but in your studio, the door's open. It's kind of like distracting. Maybe you can shut your door.
No, Colonel, don't you dare talk about Fruity's door like that.
Now, if you could put a picture there on the back, something nice, it would be even better.
Yeah,
come on, Corin.
I'm still trying to sort out if I can put a background, but
Okay, I'm just messing with you, Footy. Don't worry about me.
that's all right. Don't worry.
Does anyone know if Oscar is going to join us?
Who?
Oscar.
Oscar.
Yeah,
What's happened to them?
he watches it on YouTube.
At the end of the bar every week.
Yeah, he watches it on YouTube when John sends it round afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't connect up.
he doesn't come on.
He lives in Carlisle. They've not got Wi-Fi up there yet.
They haven't got electricity.
I have a story about Oscar.
Go on.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on, come on.
It's a silly story, really. So, when I was a bellboy, because as you know, I was bellboy, then I was night steward. When I was a bellboy, I one time in the crew mess at lunchtime, I stupidly, after getting my lunch, I saw Oscar with his back towards me, and I
Well,
That's done, Robin.
John Trembling. Hey, John, you're out of order.
I will carry on. So we're in the crew mess lunchtime, and I was a young bellboy, and I know stupidly I went behind him and I left and right finger. Careful now. We're gone madly here. I dug my left and right forefinger into his left and right ribs. Anyway, thinking it was funny. It was. I've never seen, bear in mind, after the mentioned Navy, I went to join the 12 years in the Army. I've never seen anyone turn around so quickly with a knife in his hand, with looking at me with like a Gurkha killer look. Bad move on my behalf that day.
Oscar looked like that most of the time.
Oscar's pretty quick. He's quick.
Boy. Don't sneak up behind someone and jam them in the ribs.
Did he rip up his napkin? His paper napkin.
Were we putting our napkins in our ears for Martha or for Oscar when he was singing? I can't remember. And sweeping the dance floor in the International Lounge on pub.
That was Ronnie Ponce.
Ronnie Ponce.
Oh, yeah.
Ronnie
Ponce.
Can you remember Big Harry sweeping the floor?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Oscar used to have all the dollar bills in his fingers, right? he used to carry all his dollar bills.
Yes, that's right.
Oh yes, yeah, folded
Yeah.
between the fingers, yeah.
That's very strange. I don't know where he got that idea from.
Very, very good. Hey, well, Oscar will be watching this, but he might remember. You see, I've got Gizzy's ashtray behind me at the moment.
You're not supposed to tell them that it were mine.
Sorry, sir.
They'll think I nicked it.
You just borrowed it in case Dougie Bayliss turned up. We're in the Union Jack bar, and you know the onions and the olives we had for the, the Gibsons and whatever. and we threw an onion at Oscar, and it hit him on the back of his shoulder or whatever you. And it was a good shot. This is from the bar to the floor, and within a second, one of these ashtrays flew back in the opposite direction. Flipping heck.
Wow.
Now you were talking about the Love Boat cocktail last week. I found my glass.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the Love
That's a
Boat.
collector's item.
Hang on, it's,
Can I just
Oh
say
my
something?
God.
Excellent.
It's got the heart on it as well.
yeah,
I'd like
yeah.
to apologize. Can I just say to the record? I'd like to apologize to Oscar all these years later. So if he watches it later, Oscar, I'm sorry for messing your lunch up that day.
Good on you.
Sorry, that's
I don't think he'd be able to grasp that long,
Is it
Malcolm.
lunch or lunchbox?
Oh,
Who's lunchbox?
How many?
You know.
How many of those Love Boat cocktail glasses were recycled?
Oh, yes.
Did you pay an extra $1 for the glass?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Something
was.
like
It
that,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
You did,
Yeah.
yeah. I think, yeah, I think, yeah.
Hey,
I'm
look,
pretty sure that when I was on PP, that Andy Hitchcock's created a cocktail there for the Love Boat cocktail.
Really? Yeah.
No, it was Jingles.
Jingle, yeah. But Roy
Jingles.
Jenkins, yeah.
Yeah.
That was not Dennis Murphy. I
There
know.
was a competition for the Love Boat cocktail, wasn't
Dennis
there?
Murphy.
Yes.
Talking
No.
about
It was
drinks,
Jingles.
Mandy, Mandy,
I'm sure it was Dennis Murphy.
can you give us a tale of when you went to the glacier to make your cocktails?
Oh, yeah.
oh God. Oh God, I could. How many of you have seen the video?
I've seen it.
Oh God, yeah, it was Royal Princess. About 1985, was it? Yeah, maybe. And so each of the princess ships had to supply somebody with a cocktail, a new cocktail, for a competition, and that was when TaylorMade films were doing like a magazine program from each of the ships, the princess ships anyway. And then Mike Chaffee, I think, did it from the Sun, didn't he? When he landed on his skis onto Palm Island with a tray in hand. And Mogan's did one, I think, from the Pacific Princess up in the Starlight Lounge.
Morgan's.
And I did the glacier slide from the top of Mendel Hall Glacier in Alaska. Yeah, Phil was there with us, weren't you, Phil? Phil and
I
John
was there.
Bacon and Alan
Still-
Bacon.
Still got the
Um,
photographs.
Good evening.
Iris.
Hey,
There were 5 of us.
Good
So
evening.
we flew up by helicopter, got 2 helicopters for us to fly up there, and it was like ex-Vietnam vet pilots taking us up, and there was no doors on the helicopters coming back because the guy wanted to film out the door. So oh, it was completely mad. But we went up there in our evening gear and moon boots underneath, and a Christmas tree, and God knows, decorations galore up onto the top of the glacier. And so, yeah, we had a great day filming up there, didn't we, Phil? And
Yeah,
as,
it's very
as
good.
the last shot that was going away from us, the guy in the helicopter was pulling away.
Come on, Peter.
All the roaches are spilling the drinks out of the blue drinks over us all. And Phil's going, fucking
I can imagine.
Excuse my language.
Darling.
Well, that's what you said, if I remember rightly, Phil. But I think all of us were probably party to that too, because we just got drenched in blue cocktail, basically. So yeah.
Bloody hell, I can't remember that.
There was a story. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but when the cruise ships first started going out to Alaska, when they used to get in front of the glacier, they used to sound the ship's horn, trying to trigger ice balls off the
We
glacier.
did that on the arcade. We did that on the Arcadia.
Yeah, and then the American Wildlife Service started finding all these dead birds and the wildlife because they'd had a silent life, and then these ships' horns going off, the shock killed them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brendan. I think also the Glacier Park Rangers also felt that the vibration from the whistle was breaking off chunks of ice. You know.
Yeah.
That's what's caused the global warming.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were blowing the whistle.
Yeah.
Global warming. I wish it would start up round here.
Yeah.
I'd like to say something. Okay, so welcome, Peter.
Thank you, John.
I just want to say that we don't care about how many views on YouTube and that, but I will say that the Sue Huggins musical tribute, which Brendan got the music,
Yeah,
and
it was
the,
very good.
and the Peter Pratt snippet from the Crew Bar has got 1,000 views now between them.
Wow.
All right. Nice one.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely great.
Yeah, so
I say that was another shock this week with Father James Early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember him, Seamus?
No.
Don't you
Never
remember
saw
Jimmy
him.
Early?
Where was he?
He was. I worked with him on the Oriana, I think.
He was on the, I don't know if it's Spirit or Sun Princess in the very early days. I think it was
That's right.
probably the Sun.
I sailed with him on Oriana, Canberra, and Sea Princess.
Yeah, I sailed relief on him on Sea Princess.
He
I
was a
think it
second
was.
waiter, assistant head waiter.
No,
Yeah, he
made
finished
to be
up.
on the sea. It was
Yeah, he
assistant head
finished up
waiter
later.
on the Sun.
Yeah.
I think he was with Miss Eaton, Shirley Eaton, Les Eaton.
Leslie. Yeah.
John
Mother.
John was James.
Mother.
Stupid
Dave?
sets out of us.
Who did you get him mixed up with? The other one with the syrup?
Oh, Jamie Darlow.
Jamie Darlow.
Jamie Darlow.
That's mother.
The Maharana.
Yeah, we did.
It looked
John
like a
was-
big old tea bag on the top of his head, didn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, he used to get them free on the National Health because he had a very, very bad car accident.
Do
Which
you
caused him
remember
to,
Albert, who used to be in the Monkey Bar on the Oriana as well?
Yeah. And
John, just a matter of interest, was Jamie Early before or after David Heggie as assistant
Before.
maitre d'?
Before, I think.
Before.
Before,
okay.
yeah.
Peter, they were around at the same
Yeah.
time.
Oh, okay.
I've got a photograph somewhere of both of them together on the Oriana.
on the CP, on the Sun Princess, it was Jamie Early and Fred.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can always
Gizzy
remember
might
one.
remember on Oriana, there was not on Oriana, on the Oronte, there was a bartender there, no, steward, sorry, who used to take his Irish wig off, put it on his knee and comb it while he was sat in the room.
And did he feed it at the same time?
I shared a cabin with a public room steward, and he had one of those Steiner polystyrene heads, and he used to put the wig on it at night time.
He used his knee for that.
And I came back from the crew bar one night, a little bit worse for wear, and I put my foot on it, and because I was on the top bunk, and he was quite a big chap, but he got hold of me and he had me up against the bulkhead. You know, if you ever stand on my wing again, you know. Tony someone, I can't remember his name.
Hey,
Butch.
Forget that.
Okay,
Bill would know him. I can't remember his name. Tony someone. For a week.
Could somebody call Fraser on a landline and see if he can join us? I sent him the email.
Say, where is Fraser?
Right.
Someone could call him on a landline and just tell him to check their email to click the link.
Let's just do it.
I can remember one incident with Les Eaton and David Heggie on, I think it was the early days of the actual Sun after it had moved on from Spirit of London. Les Eaton was, it was embarkation day, so Les Eaton was sitting in the dining room dealing with all these dining queries. And David Heggie and I were the other end. Just, I don't know, we were talking about something. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, this little old lady suddenly appears and says, "You the maitre d', And David Heggie said, "No, madam." He said, pointing at Les up the other end of the dining room. He said, "You see that little old lady up the other end of the dining room with the glasses on the end of her nose?" He said, "That's her. You go and have a word with her, dear." Oh.
Dear, oh dear.
You used to drink port and brandies at the table there.
Oh,
Port
really?
and brandy.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
afternoon.
Good for settling the stomach.
Yeah.
Jägermeister, if I remember rightly.
Who was the head waiter who caught the salmon?
Oh, that was Ray. Ray.
Ray Audrain.
Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray Audrain, that's right. Yeah.
He come from New Zealand, didn't he?
I thought he was from Jersey, Ray.
It was from Jersey.
Yeah,
Was he
he's from
Jersey?
Jersey.
Channel 4 News had its last scoop of the season. Ray, our assistant maitre d', caught the largest salmon of the year, and our cameras were at the event to record Ray's jubilation.
At least, what was that? At least £90? What do you say, John? 20, that's good enough. The captain says 28, that's good enough. God.
Okay, back to the ship, Ray.
All right.
Perhaps I'm getting mixed up with somebody else.
He did have that sort of accent.
Wasn't he restaurant manager on the QE2 and he got sacked off there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
the last time I saw Ray Audrain was after I'd finished at sea. I spent not quite a year, but about 9 months waiting for a pub, and I took my first pub on in funny enough a village that's only about 2 miles from here. And where he got his information from, I don't know, but my missus and I moved in on a Wednesday, and on Thursday morning, who walked in my pub but Ray Audrain?
Really?
And I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Oh, I've come to help you set up." And he spent about 4 days with us. Where he got his information from, I do not know. He helped us settle in our first pub.
Well, the last time I saw Ray was after I'd left the Sun Princess, and I ended up on the Uganda trooping down the Falklands, and Ray got sent there as maitre d'. Anyway, we're on our way back up from Port Stanley, back up to Ascension Island. And for dinner in the evening, we used to eat at the captain's table, just the heads of department, you know. And on that particular trip, we were bringing Sir Rex and Lady Hunt, who'd been the governor of the Falklands during the conflict. We were bringing them back up to be recalled back to UK. And Ray Audrain approached the table, absolutely pissed as a parrot, started telling jokes at the captain's table. Well, I could see the captain just absolutely glaring at me as if to say, "Get him out of here." And I sat there and sort of was trying to sort of signal to Ray with my eyes to piss off, sort of thing, you know. And he wasn't having any of it. He just stayed the distance. You know?
Who was the captain, Peter?
Russian. Granny Russian.
Molly Russian, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Drain, we all worked with his son, remember? Cheeky Nick.
Oh, yeah. I remember his son was at sea, yeah.
Yeah, we worked with Mick, and Mick's sister, Debbie, she worked on RF8 for years. She retired back about 18 months ago. So the whole family's been at sea.
Oh, right. Right.
You talk about that, Peter, at the captain's table on the Arcadia, the old Arcadia. I went out to relieve there one turn, and Trevor Friday was there relieving as chef as well. Dickie Clark, that used to be on the Spirit of London, was there as deputy captain. Anyway, Trevor goes in the restaurant and he calls him over to his table, Dickie Clark, deputy captain. So he said, "Oh, chef, I'd like to meet my table." So Trevor had a couple of drinks and said, "Hello, table." Didn't go down very well.
All this thing.
He died now, didn't he? Died, I think, Trevor.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Trevor did.
Trevor died, didn't he?
Quite a
Yeah,
while ago.
He committed suicide, sadly. That was in the early 80s on his 50th birthday.
Oh, dear.
He lived, we both come from Sittingbourne. That's where I lived at the time. I don't live there now. And I mean, both our families were very friendly. In actual fact, his mother and my father ended up in the same nursing home. But he was due to go back to the Oil Rigs, which is where he was working at the time. And he was due to go back this morning. It was his 50th birthday. And the neighbour that used to look after the house and had keys, the next morning saw all the lights on in all the rooms through the house and thought there was something wrong. Didn't want to go in there herself. So she called Trevor's brother, who was in the police. He came down and went in and they found Trevor dead in bed. He'd taken an overdose, sadly.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah.
yeah.
Mother could never have accepted it. When I went home on leave, I'd only just gone back off leave in actual fact, and I'd seen I think I'd done one cruise, and I'd seen Trevor just before I'd come back off leave, and he'd been in to visit his mother in this nursing home, which is just down the road from where I used to live. And coming back, I was out mowing my lawn at the front of the bungalow, and I heard this voice call out, "Hello, Doc, can I have a cup of sugar?" When I looked up, it's Trevor.
I can remember one time. Sorry, John.
Of course, I invited him in, but I mean, he was. I wouldn't offer him a drink because he did have a drink problem, as we probably all know who knew him. And I said, "Would you like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee?" "No, thank you, Doc." And he brought all his photographs down that he'd taken over the years he'd been at sea, and going through all these photographs and showing me. And we had quite a laugh there, actually. Anyway, he went off, and that was the last time I saw him. But I heard afterwards that all his photographs and all his bits and pieces like that, he'd had a bonfire in the garden and burnt them.
Wow. Oh, that's sad.
Oh,
yeah.
That's sad. Yeah.
I remember one time with Trevor on the Orchides, I was crew AP, and Trevor had just been made up to chef, and his cabin was right next door to the chief steward's. And I don't know if anybody remembers a great big chief steward by the name of Billy Hodgkin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You probably remember him, Peter. He was he was an ex-amateur wrestler from Bethnal Green, and he was a great guy to be behind if you had a problem down the crew mess, because you know, if somebody complained about the food, I just used to take Billy down with me.
Chris Chapman joined just to have interest. He's asking to come in.
Hey?
Chris Chapman's asking to come in.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Let him in. Let him in. Somebody.
Yeah.
To interrupt anybody there, but it was just a lot of things have flashed up on my phone.
Is he?
Yeah, no, that's
is
fine.
he on Messenger?
Yeah, he's on the wrong thing. He needs to. I put a message up to come in the crew bar. He knows the crew bar is here, so.
Yeah.
Good. What does it sound about, Billy?
Bill Butcher.
Billy, Trevor used to like to go ashore and get his bars of Cadbury's whole nut chocolate. And he used to keep them in the drawer of his desk, you see. Well, while he was down the galley during dinner, Billy used to go into his cabin and nick one of these bumper bars of whole nut chocolate. But Billy had false teeth and couldn't chew around the nuts. So he used to suck all the chocolate off the nuts and then put the pile of nuts back in the packet and put the packet back in Trevor's drawer. Because Trevor would come up from the galley after second sitting, or sometimes before second sitting, and you know, go to think, oh, I fancy a piece of chocolate, go into his drawer, and all there'd be was this wrapper with a great big pile of peanuts. Just go absolutely berserk with the chief steward.
I'm told they did the same thing to Ron Church.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's the name from the past?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a long while ago, but
yeah.
I'm told that Billy Hodgkin did it to Ron Church.
He's been sucking my nuts.
Only if they got chocolate on.
Only help out when they're busy.
There were so many standard pranks played on especially newcomers, weren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the
It wasn't
bar.
always newcomers, all
Particularly
I can
Peter
tell you.
Stevens. I'm sure Peter Stevens probably sent me down to the stores for a soda syrup at one point. And probably also a long stand.
Yeah, for a long, yes.
And a bag of carrots for the donkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I was
sure the list goes
first trip on the Orsolva, 1970, bellboy. And obviously naive, young, didn't know what the hell was going on. I think there were deckies that pulled me up. There were deckies, yeah, they had European deckies on there. They said, you know that it's your turn to do fog walks? I said, what? It's your turn to do fog walks. What do you mean? He said, you've got to go and stand on the forecastle head. You've got to stand there and you've got to look out for fog. And if there's any fog, you've got to turn around and you've got to hit the bridge to let them know there's fog coming. Well, I'm up there for about 3 hours.
Did you take your life jacket?
There's no fog. And they left me there in ages. About 4 hours. They said, right, you can leave now, you can come down. Somebody else's turn. I believed it for
my first trip Castle, I was telly-op. And after a few days, I still hadn't really clicked with anybody or spoke to anybody. And I'd gone into the crew bar very bravely, and there was this little skinny lady in there. And she started talking to me, and she said, I'm having a party down at my cabin tonight, come down. I was so made up, I'd finally got a friend. I went down there. Well, I didn't know she was the biggest lesbian on board. I hadn't really come into contact with any lesbians. I got out of her cabin probably in about 15, 20 minutes. But honest to God, for the next 2 weeks, I couldn't go to the bar. I couldn't really leave the exchange because she'd always be there hovering. I mean, now it wouldn't bother me, but when I was first at sea, and I was, 21, I think, I was like, I didn't know what to do or how to cope with it. I've never forgotten that. I laugh about it now, but at the time it was pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, we've got
Everyone's gone quiet now.
Trying to think of all the traumatic things we've been put through in the years at sea.
I must ask Pete Stevens actually.
Go
Pete,
on.
Pete, do you remember when you first went Central Hotel storekeeper?
Oh yeah.
And Steve Morton Smith had said to us to go through all the lockers and get rid of anything that we didn't want. And the Sea Princess was in Sitka, and it was on its last. We were going to meet it in Sitka, and it was on its last trip, and it was going down to Australia. So we got together all from the chef's locker, all the old cook pots, great big things that the chef didn't want, nobody could use, and we got all this. And we filled a lifeboat with them. And the Sea Princess was sailing at 12, and we were sailing at 1. And about 11:30, we filled a lifeboat with all this lot and took it all over to the Sea Princess. And we offloaded it into the foyer. And the chief steward, which was Mike Cramper, if you remember, Mike was on the Sun at one stage. Lovely guy. He came out and said, "What the hell is all this?" He said, we don't want all this. And I said to him, "But Mike, you're going down to Australia, aren't you?" And he said, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Well, have you had the Australian menus yet?" And he said, "Well, no." I said, "When you get the Australian menus," I said, "you'll realise why you need these big stock pots." Oh, he said, "Okay." Anyway, so we left it all there, and it was absolute chaos because all the passengers were just coming back from their tours, and the ship needed to make a quick getaway and that sort of thing. Anyway, we went back. Pete Stevens and I went back to the ship, and we stood on the back deck of the Island Princess having a beer and watched the Sea Princess sail away. Apparently it was absolute chaos. They had nowhere to put any of these stock pots and that sort of thing. They had to turn 4 lockers over to all these stock pots, which they had to throw stuff away. Apparently it was absolute chaos. and I got a right bollocking from Steve Morton Smith when I asked if we could have credit for all this stock that we'd landed to the Sea Princess.
Chris Chapman just said not today.
Just seen it. I've just replied back and told him there won't be one next
It's
week.
just come through on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Pratt, I can remember, was it last week or the week before, you were telling the story about when the Orchidees caught fire in Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
And we were there for 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going through some photos the other day, and it reminded me of an incident that happened there.
Uh-huh.
I think we'd been there about 2 or 3 nights.
Yeah.
And all the girls had been over to the Fleet Club in Hong Kong on the island. There was all the bedroom sturds, whatever. And a couple of them got rolled outside of the Fleet Club.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you remember Mick Wallace, Nelly.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
Nelly.
He was a waiter then, wasn't he?
No, he was a public room steward at that time.
Oh, was
I
he?
think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I first remember him as a waiter, but as a PRS then.
And of course, he'd got rolled, you see, on the way back. He'd come back with black eye and fat lip, and he'd lost his wallet.
A normal going ashore experience for Nelly.
And I don't know if you recollect, but I think they all reported it to the police. And a guy from the Hong Kong police came on about a day or 2 later.
Yeah.
English guy, he was detective sergeant of the Hong Kong police force.
Yeah.
And he interviewed him. And he said to Ned, could you describe your attacker or your attackers? He said, yeah. He said, they're all about 5'5", slanting eyes, black hair, with Chinese. And the old Bill just looked him straight in the eye and said, without a grin on his face, he just said, well, that description fits about 10 million of them here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I should tell you that Nelly was my cabin mate on Oriana for a short time. All right. Okay.
Really?
Just only a short time, John.
Yeah, basically, I'd just been made up to PRS, and yeah, it was an eye-opener. That's all I'm saying on that. Okay. The reason I remember Nelly as a waiter on the Orchidees when I was crew AP is I think he was the only waiter out of both restaurants that never actually got logged.
Excuse me, is that a euphemism? I did meet up with Nelly in the Working Men's Club in Salisbury when I left the Oriana in '93. I went to college in Salisbury, and yeah, Nelly lived there, I think, didn't you, Phil?
Yeah.
You would know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I met up with him there. That's the last time I saw him, sadly.
Yeah.
Yes, a character indeed.
The only time I ever got logged was with Pete. You might remember that. We missed a ship in
San Francisco.
Was it Frisco, was it?
I think
Los
so.
Angeles
No,
or
we
Frisco.
travelled up. It was a stroke of luck, John, because if we missed it in LA.
Yeah, LA. I think I'm sure it's LA.
Yeah, because otherwise it was going south.
It was going north. You had to go out there
it was
Frisco.
really lucky because we got on a flight up to San Francisco from LA.
Yeah.
Then we tried to walk on the ship the next morning and nobody noticing us.
Yeah.
Did you manage it?
No.
We stayed with some friends in Aptos, remember?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. We stayed with some friends in Aptos, and then the two daughters drove us up the next day. We got back on the ship the next day.
Yeah.
And Daisy Dallas, good man, Captain Dallas.
Yeah.
He just took us on the bridge and, well, because of I'll say no more, but it was good.
Brilliant. Yeah.
You can't say things like that. You've got to tell us all the story.
There was when I
Basically,
was-
the car hire people, they had a problem with the car. They gave us a duff car. We didn't get back in time, so we missed a ship.
quite a few crew, when we were Mexican cruising, they used to, the ship would sail from Puerto Vallarta, I think it was, late at night, and we'd get into Manzanillo the following morning very early.
Yeah.
And they'd have the night ashore. They wouldn't actually join the ship. They wouldn't come back to the ship.
Yeah.
And quite a few crew got away with that one for quite a while. I think they caught up with them eventually, or they realised what was going on. But yeah, they used to go ashore that evening and say, "See you tomorrow in Manzanillo," and that was it. And they were gone. And they used to have. I never did it myself, but I know quite a few.
I think it was San Juan, San Thomas.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
Just going to say,
the big thing, yeah.
That's why Aggie always wanted the Union Jack bar. You know?
Yeah.
I must admit that's the only time I got away with it. We were in St Thomas with the Island Princess, and we were both sailing for San Juan the following morning. And I hadn't seen David Hale for years and years and years, and we were pals from the Ronce and the Pacific Princess, and I was on the Sun at the time, and I'd met him ashore. The pair of us had got absolutely arseholed and ended up back on the Island Princess, and I woke up in the crew bar on the Island Princess at about 4 a.m. And when we docked at San Juan the following morning, we were either side of the pier, and I got up to about 7 o'clock, sneaked out the gun port door down the crew gangway, straight onto the Sun.
I knew you were gone.
I'll tell you what. I've got a story here. I actually had to get away from the taxman, so I flew out to San Juan and stayed in the Coronado Beach. Is that right? Yeah. One of those hotels there in San Juan. And
yeah, Condado.
Away from
Condado Beach.
So I can get my tax back.
Very
good. All right, get out of the country.
And I met Fraser there. Oh God! Don't say any more. We all know about that. Good night out with Fraser, but I parked I had a hire car. I don't know how, but I parked it so well in the Coronado Beach that nobody else could get out. Oh, good night out.
Yeah.
I can remember one time flying out back to join the Sun again in San Juan, and my two travelling companions were Pat Reed and does anybody remember Alan Bushby?
Yes. I still see Alan Bushby.
The three of us were sitting in the back of the plane, and anyway, we started having a few drinks, and Alan Bushby very sensibly sort of paced himself. Pat Reed and I didn't. By the time we got to Miami and had to go through immigration, I mean, Pat and I were absolutely 3 sheets to the wind. I don't know, but Bushby very kindly sort of guided us through immigration and that sort of thing, and got us on the next plane to San Juan, where Pat Reed and I immediately fell asleep. We buckled up and just were completely out. Somehow, neither of us could remember being got off the plane or getting to the hotel or whatever. But anyway, it was a few days later when we used to meet the Island Princess in La Guara, and she used to transfer to us all our logo stores like bar napkins and swizzle sticks, all that sort of princess logo stuff. Anyway, Mike Hawksworth was on the IP, and he said to me, God, he said, were you on that flight? He said, taking off from Miami on Friday night. So I said, yeah, how do you mean? Which flight? He said, well, the one that, he said, the one that was in all the papers. So I said, oh, yeah. He said, it must have been absolutely terrifying. I said, oh, yeah, it was. And apparently it was all over the American papers. As the plane went to take off, a light plane went across the runway, and they had to abort the takeoff, and apparently there was a great screeching of brakes and everything came out of the racks and God knows what else, and it was very lucky that it didn't actually hit this light plane with this aborted takeoff. That's all over the papers. Pat Reed and I didn't know a bloody thing about it. We were absolutely pissed to pass out. You know.
Nothing unusual there with Pat.
Yeah, I would love to have contact with Alan Bushby, Peter.
Oh yeah, we tried a few. Alan Matches and I tried several times after he'd left because he came from Newcastle. He came from Newcastle. Alan Matches and I tried a few times, and we just couldn't get hold of him.
Who's that, Alan Bushby? You know him, Brendan, don't you?
Yeah, Alan Bushby goes to my local pub.
Oh,
okay,
does he?
so I have to tell you the story. See, that about 3 weeks before I left the sea for good, a gentleman came into the Starlight, and me and Alan were the bartenders. And this gentleman came in the bar with his wife. His name was Roddy E. Mims. And apparently his travel agent has put him on the wrong ship. If you Google Roddy E. Mims, who became a very, very close friend of mine and Alan, he was the White House photographer for Time magazine.
Oh.
And Alan, I'd be in contact with Roddy on a regular basis, well before social media, and he was saying, well, he was with Ronald Reagan. And I remember when we went ashore in San Juan to the casino, all the people there were saying, "Oh, El Presidente," because he knew this guy. He knew like 5 presidents personally. But anyway, the point is, I think Alan, he visited him and his wife in Washington, D.C. And then tragically, Roddy Mims, who was obese, he died of a stroke. But anyway,
all right.
But just to finish it off, the strange thing is, the Roddy Mims, he wrote a letter of character for me, because at the time I was about, obviously, to enter the USA and marry Cindy and that. No, I was already married. But anyway, he wrote me this letter. So when he passed away, his widow sent me or phoned me about his passing, and then she sent me all the telegrams I still have from like 5 surviving presidents. It was Carter, Bush, Reagan, who else was it? Nixon, all of them, yeah. Anyway, that's my Bushby story.
Right. Well, Brendan's. It sounds like Brendan's our man to get in touch with him.
Yeah. Well, when the pubs were open.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Mandy and I are in a PDR because we can't get a bloody word in here. Okay.
And do you know what? It's probably just as well.
Get in there.
Some things have to stay zipped.
Want to see the photograph I've got up?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Alan Bushby gave me that from the guy you were talking about.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Okay.
I got the same. I got the same one. Yeah.
Right.
Brilliant.
Well, when the pub's open, perhaps Brendan can.
Bring
the Bushby in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him all the details and that. But since we've had lockdown, I've not seen him at all.
Oh, sure.
Didn't he go to South Africa for a spell?
Alan was when I spoke to Alan, he's retired now, but he was one of these guys that went on every type of ship you can think of, coal carriers, oil tank. He loved all that. He would just for the adventure of going on different types of ships in the American Navy. Right. And he's been on all sorts. I mean, you can sit all night and listen to Alan's stories.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But Ollie Steer came down to Dover about a year, 18 months ago. Spent the night, and we went into the pub and we bumped into Alan, and we all sat around the table, swinging the lamp all night.
Yeah.
I think he came to our wedding, Bushby. I think, didn't he, Peter?
What's that?
I think Bushby came to our, Pat and my wedding.
I think he did. Yes.
Yeah, and so J.R. and Lindsay and Tim Sloper, bless him, he's not with us any longer. And I think who was the other one? Pat Reed came.
Yeah, Pat Reed and his wife.
And who was the other one? Oh, Pete the Feet.
Yeah.
Pete the Feet came up with us, if I remember rightly, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, because you were there as well, weren't you, Gizzy? Sorry, yeah, you were there. Yeah.
I thought it was absolutely fascinating that, well, I didn't smoke, but my ex-missus did at the time, and we were out in the car park having a smoke, and there was an almighty punch-up. Can you remember that?
Well, don't forget, the wedding was just outside Liverpool, so it wouldn't have been the same.
And I said to Pat, what's all that about?
On that night, Pat's mum, my mother-in-law, she went with the scrap. She got right in amongst it all.
That's right,
because she thought that Pat's younger brother, my nephew, was in not nephew, brother-in-law, was in amongst it. You know, we thought, oh, for God's sake, here we go.
And I think Pat said something like, "It won't be a scarce wedding without a punch-up."
Exactly.
At one point,
That
there were
time,
three.
David, I was holding the fort on the ship.
Yes, you were, Stephen.
Still working, mate.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, we were all on leave. Yeah, I remember.
You see, talking about with Steve, just it reminded me of one of these flights about going out for tax. You know, so getting your days out of the country, and it coincided that my last week's leave was also the first week's leave of Steve Walker and Harry the dog, Dave Hawkins. So Dave and Steve flew out to where did we meet up?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. So they flew to New Orleans from San Juan, and I flew out from London to meet up. And we had a week in New Orleans. Well, of course, when I got to the airport, I then said to the taxi driver, "Take me to the Holiday Inn." And of course, he said, "Which one?"
Which one?
So I said, "The nearest one, and then we'll go from there." So we went to the nearest one, which, as it was the hotel we'd booked. I checked in, went to reception. I said, "Is Mr. Hawkins and Mr. Walker here?" And the receptionist was quite cool when she replied, "Yes, they are here. And if you go up, they're on the swimming pool. They're up by the swimming pool on the 11th floor. You'll probably hear them from the 7th floor." Oh my God. And I went up there, and apparently you'd been right on the piss. Well, Harry had been really on the piss on the flight down.
I'll tell that other story in a second, John, Dave.
What we picked you? Was it picked you, or I can't remember. Who was it? Picked you up on the street?
Oh, God, you just left me.
Well, we went to a bar. Obviously, we did the trip on the boat. The paddle boat.
Dave, we went on a riverboat cruise.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, went on a riverboat, and then we said to the barman, up to the taxi driver, "Take us to a bar nearby." So we went there, and we went into this bar about 4 in the afternoon, 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and it was quite busy. It's quite busy. And we should have clocked it, because one bloke came in and then kissed the male barman across the counter with a chicken on the cheek. But anyway, he said, if you want to go upstairs, it's all happening upstairs. There's a disco at 4 in the afternoon. And he said, it's $5 and you can have all the beer you want is included in the $5. So I went up there and had a look in through, and it was absolutely heaving. It was chock-a-block, but you could only see flashing lights and everything else. So we went up there, paid the $5, and by the time we got our eyes adjusted to it, we realised it was like the Blue Oyster Club, and they were all wearing all the YMCA outfits and leathers and God knows what. But we paid $5, and we wanted our beer, And Steve, you weren't happy, were you?
No, I weren't happy.
No. So he left, and Harry and I carried on drinking, and we got a taxi back to the hotel. And as we're going along this street, they're quite narrow streets there. And this street, he had to sort of divert and pull out from the side of the road to miss running over someone. And as we went past this person, we saw it was Steve. So I said, "Taxi, just stop, please." And we yanked him into the car and got back to the hotel.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to that trip.
Yes.
You were.
Didn't make it.
You were, Kevin. But
Yeah.
let's start at the beginning, Dave. If you want to listen to this story, me and Harry left the ship in San Juan, yeah, and we were flying from San Juan to meet up with Dave in Los Angeles, in New Orleans. New Orleans. Anyway, we gets off the ship and Harry the dog, as he was in rat arse when we left the bit of the foul we left the ship. So we get to the airport in San Juan. We check in, we get on the plane, and I seem to recall there being like 3 or 4 seats in the middle and seats on the side. We were in the middle on this plane, and we're flying from New Orleans, from San Juan to Miami, Miami to New Orleans. So we're sat on the plane. Harry's pissed. He starts smoking. The stewardess comes up to, excuse me, sir, you can't smoke. It's a non-smoking. You can't smoke. You know what Harry was like? Smoking away. So anyway, we land in Miami, and it comes over the tunnel. If you wish to leave the plane and have a walk around, stretch your legs, by all means do it, and come back, and then we'll carry on to New Orleans because they're refueling or whatever. So should we go off? Yeah, so we went off the plane, and guess where we go? You head straight
to the bar,
straight to the nearest bar. So we're going to get back on the plane, and I've never seen 4 guys so big in my life. These big air steward marshals, you know, these air marshals they had?
Yeah.
They were big strapping guys. And as we were walking to go on the plane, they just stepped out in front of us and said, where are you guys going? I said, well, we're rebuilding the plane. They said, you ain't. I said, what? I said, you're not going back on the plane. I thought, what? I thought, well, I know why. He said, your friend has been misbehaving and he's pissed and he's not doing as he's told. So I'm begging these. I said, please, you've got to let us go. We've got to get to New Orleans and all this. And they said, right. He said, we'll let you on the plane so long as you keep an eye on this guy. Make sure he gets into no more trouble. Otherwise, when you get to the other end, you're arrested. I said, right, okay, thank you. We get our back on the plane. They move us right to the back of the plane. Harry the dog, he falls asleep. Yeah, I haven't had a drink all day. Yeah, I haven't had a drink all day.
Right.
Amazing.
Excuse me. Have a beer, please. She said, no, you're not getting anything to drink. You're with him. Great. So we got to New Orleans eventually and then found the hotel, and then Dave found us. That's when I was pissed. It tipped me over the edge, basically. And then there's more to tell about that holiday, Dave, isn't there?
Yes, but that can always be after Easter Sunday.
We could write a book about that little vacation we had in New Orleans.
Oh, talking about
books.
Don't forget, they're still available. They're still available.
Oh.
Peter,
Oh, no. Yes, I've got one too.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
A member of the book club.
Wow. Thank you, Peter.
This is what the purser's handbag looks like nowadays.
When's the second one coming?
Well, as I said to John the other day, I said to the Colonel, somebody had asked about it, and I've got about 70% finished, but all my notes and everything are out in my place in Spain. And of course, I can't get out there at the moment.
Oh.
If I can get, hopefully, as soon as they lift this ban on travel, and I can get out to Spain, I can probably finish it in a couple of weeks, you know. So I'm hoping maybe June time, you know.
Great.
But, that's what I'm hoping.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. We'll look forward to it. Well, now
I'll let
again,
you know anyway.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have had another red light. This red light does come.
I was going to say, you get lots of those, Dave, don't you?
Makes him feel at home.
But, all right, John. But the red light is obviously Colonel will need to be departing for doing the editing and to include another Oscar special at the end of tomorrow's recording.
It might not be tomorrow's, Dave. I got to do some inserting, and the reason I want to leave, only the caveman will know why I have to leave. It's because of Gonzaga and who are they playing? Creighton. It's a basketball game, yeah.
All right, okay.
And we thought you were leaving because it was opening time, John.
Yeah. Even better. Hey,
Never mind, John. We've got line of duty.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's great. Colonel, can Steve still close?
9 o'clock.
Can Steve still close if
Yes,
necessary?
I will assign him full powers to continue the bar. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Lovely.
Well, after John goes, if you want to stay, you can stay. If you want to go, just go, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's very good. Very good.
And Dave, just remind Peter Pratt that we are closed next Sunday for Easter Sunday.
Yeah. Okay,
Easter
I got the
Sunday.
message.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, guys. Everybody have a good Easter, eh?
Okay.
So
Right, you
You'll
too.
post it online that we're not open.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.
This is Oscar from Ollie's Pocket. The Lift Boy's Tale. Part 2. The Ship's Cat. Traditionally, since the days of sail, cats have been on board ships as a working member of the crew. They had one duty: to keep down rats and other vermin. On the Himalaya, such an animal existed and belonged to Captain Lawrence and lived in his cabin and had the run of the ship, Himalaya. Although much loved by the captain, it was actually a black cat of an incredible malevolent nature, obese, vindictive, lazy, and much hated by the crew. I can safely say it had never tasted rat in its life. Captain's standing orders to lift boys was that if the cat was waiting for the lift, this animal disdained to use stairs. They were to embark it, stop at every floor, and open the gates to see if it wanted off. And if not, to proceed to the next deck, until it recognized the deck it wanted. This in no way endeared the animal to the lift boys. In fact, a few had assisted it to disembark before its request stopped. One evening, I picked up the Goanese steward, or as we called him, Captain Steiger, from D-deck, outside the restaurant, with his tray of food covered by a chop cover, and transported him to the last stop up, boat deck, near the captain's cabin. On the way, I asked him if he had the captain's dinner, and he whipped the chop cover off and revealed a beautiful steak. Not the captain, he angrily said, but the captain's cat. Every night, here I am in the crew mess with my curry and rice, and the cat on steak. Later, after I got off duty, I was talking with a friend from sea school and told him the story. I was overheard by an old sea dog who beckoned us over and said, "I can tell you a story about that cat." Wide-eyed, we listened to the following tale. Lift Boy's Tale, Part 3, The Old Petty Officer's Story. One full moon night in the Indian Ocean, the officer of the watch wandered out onto the starboard bridge wing, and gazing aft in the light of the moon, he saw an object arcing from the boat deck out over the ocean, and a childlike scream came faintly to him. Thinking a child had gone overboard, he acted with great presence of mind and seized the lifebuoy with light attached that was by his hand and flung it with great accuracy in the direction of the fast disappearing object that was now achieving splashdown in the ship's wake. He yelled, "Man overboard!" and rang the same on the alarm bells, and ordered a Williamson turn. When the ship came back on its course and neared the point of the alarm, the crash boat was launched, and the crew could see the light attached to the buoy blinking away. Steering to it, they realized the victim was clinging to the lifebuoy and plucked the lifebuoy out of the water with a large, fat, angry, half-drowned black cat attached, who, far from grateful for its rescue, hissed, spat, clawed, and made a growling noise that seemed to say, "Come near me, and I'll have your eyes out." Of course, the captain launched an inquiry into the incident, with the whole ship's crew, except one notable exception, as suspects. It, of course, went nowhere. One widely held suspicion was the captain's steward, as he had just been seen before the incident delivering fruit to the captain's cabin. However, nothing was ever proved. The two lift boys on the deck that night, listening with wonder to the grizzled old petty officer's tale, were convinced the story was true. Though now, today, I am not quite sure. Does anyone out there know the truth of this story? Or were we two naive, first-trip bellboys and a wicked-tongued old salt? A couple of trips later, there was a bureau bellboy on the Himalaya. That horrible cat used to visit the purser's bureau frequently and was never welcomed, and was encouraged to depart by one of the JAPs or the cadet purser by the simple expedient of assisting it out with a well-placed boot up its derriere. One quiet afternoon, between passenger visits, Ian Henshaw and Dickie Rutter were on the counter. The cat jumped onto the counter and got its revenge for its enforced swift departure the day before. With a wild yell, they both grabbed all their papers and stamps from the counter as a yellow pool spread over the black polished surface. They both simultaneously shouted, "Bells!" So Oscar had to clean up, and I was added to the long list of crew members who hated that cat. Ta-ta for now, Oscar. Oh, and you remember